Hey, this is Lisa Lee and welcome to my channel. And so this video, weirdly, I'm going to title it, And Now for the Resurrection. And I think I'm doing that because I was staring at these little books as I was placing them out because I wanted to do a pick card, and I was thinking, as my cat tries to jump up here, I was just thinking it's like 3 acts of a play. I know, the beginning, the middle, the end. It's like the Trinity. I don't know, I got very caught up in threes, and I've been thinking, yeah, 3 days and then the resurrection. And so on the 3rd day, there was a resurrection. Now I have a cat who's very enthusiastic about this topic, but not really allowed on the table right now. So this is what I'm thinking with this reading. I'm being really creative, because I'm, spirit moves through me, and just the only way that is me. And I'm thinking, figure out where you think you are. 1st act, 2nd act, 3rd act. Place yourself. Like, are you feeling like that, like birth or like death? And by the way, before I go on a huge tangent, there are timestamps. Pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Back to the tangent. Maybe you're feeling like this is death and rebirth. Like, that's that void between where you were and where you're going, where just there's nothing, and it feels like a free fall. But it always leads to something unexpected and something totally new. Are you there? Are you in this place where there's this like sudden panoramic understanding of the world around you, and it's like shocking, horrifying, true, and also very like anchoring and comforting? Or are you at this resurrection place? Somehow these phases felt like a kind of sleeping, like where you hit a pinnacle and then it's just, this is where I am. This is when like life starts happening to you in a way that opens you up to kind of a level of divinity, in the way that you're able to like stand back and look and appreciate things from a very broad heart's eye view, one that is confident in its phase and at a place of appreciation and acceptance. The acceptance being almost like the appreciation, it very like in and of itself, like looking around at me like, I appreciate this enough to be like, this is it. So let's just go. I'm already rambling, and I feel like I've been talking, 3 minutes. That's pretty long. Okay, pile number 1, The Bard's Guide to Abuses and Affronts. So act 1, let's see what we have here. So I'm thinking already that there have been some abuses and affronts. Let's find a random page to begin on. Thou art unfit for any place but hell. Richard III. Yeah, so okay, let's start there. You are unfit for any place but hell. So we all have that day, right? And we're just gonna light a candle. If you want to just take a deep breath in, intend to meet with me, and I will intend to meet with you. And see what Spirit wants to tell us about this abuse, this affront, that thou was left feeling unfit for anywhere but hell. And let's see what Spirit has to say about that. Starting with this deck. I will list the decks below. If not right away, like soon. Okay. So I'm doing things differently, and I hope you appreciate following me by now that I'm always trying to do things differently. Life gets boring if you repeat the same thing over and over and over again. All right, so this is that spot from the depths of the dark. Hecate, everyone has a different way of saying it, and she doesn't care. It's a sentiment. There's a little poem that always comes into my mind whenever I'm sort of in, like, I guess, like, working with her. And it's, though she walks through the valley of death, she sees fireflies in the eyes of the damned. And she wanted to bring that through, because it's just so beautiful. And I don't know where it comes from, but I love it. So let's see where we are in this juncture of the pit of hell. This is a fun reading for me. I have some very cool guides. Four of Wands in reverse. Frustrated. Frustrated. So we start at frustrated. Something wanted to jump. God said no. There we are. Stuck. Spirit says it's okay to do something new. It's not that scary. There's something so liberating about it. Okay. There is a lot here. This is definitely that sorrowful path to that feeling that is, thou art worthy for nothing but hell. I forget what it was, but it's in here. It's that sentiment of like the death and rebirth sort of a spot. The death. So let's see what's going on here with this ego death. What's happening? Don't be afraid of those. If you're not afraid, it takes the sting out of it. And then it just becomes like a bad stomach ache for a while that like has to work its way through. Four of Wands in the reverse, Two of Swords. This is this frustrated, stuck energy. You know, with these cards in reverse, there's something like sad deeply, because this indicates like that while not being able to see one's way forward and protecting oneself, there's still a tranquility in it. Like a dreaming quality. And here, I just have a look at this for a second. There's something trying to come through. Bounty. Direction. Hope. Security. Vision. Community. This is not a good position. This is painful because it's feeling the lack or the loss of these things. And just being lost. And so we start this journey so lost. The ego death, like, it always starts lost for everybody. And we're supposed to have them all the time. It's a kind of a revolving, accelerated. So we have here the High Priestess and the Knight of Swords. This was an action taken in related to the High Priestess here. She is dreaming up her whole world. She's recording it. I've got something really heavy coming through, so everybody just kind of like, I have to like be heavy for a minute. If it takes like, if I'm slow to words, let me just get this. She can't look. It's almost like it's too horrible to see, so she can't look at it. And because she can't look at it, she's recording it. And then she's holding it. And many suns she sees, many days up, down the moon, so much time. This is so much time. It's illuminating. And there's a lot of wisdom here. And there's powerful stuff. And this is action taken. And it's action taken. You know, it's the direction going this way. It's an exhausted horse. And a defended heart. This is an interesting feeling over here. It's a kind of like, there's a type of, what is it? It's like it's a word that means, even if it's a, like it's a kind of victory that feels like a loss. And I think it starts with a PH. It's like a philic, something like that. It's a type of victory that feels like a loss. And so this is what this feels like to me. And with this Queen of Swords in reverse, when the beheaded, you know, this card almost speaks more to me about like the pain of what is. There's a powerlessness. And she's holding a kind of powerlessness as power itself. And in this deck, she's really cold. And so from that place, let's get a little lively, because that's a very heavy start and we're probably well in. So let's get some clarification that doesn't feel this heavy. Like, what does Spirit want to say about this state of affairs? Because it's feeling very dour. It's feeling super dour. Like, I need to, like, I feel like normally I would just like get up and walk around at this point, but I'm not going to do that because I want to stay in it. I'll shake my torso a little bit because I was like such a dense brick of feeling that came through there with all that. It's almost like someone's been sitting in it for a really long time. That's no place to live. There's a way out. This is just the beginning. We always think that the death is the worst part, but the journey is pretty brutal, I think. Like, I don't know, like, the death in some ways feels like that kind of victory, where it's a victory that feels like a loss, because it's like you get to just like walk away from something. And it's empowering in a sense. Let's see here. The journey is where you discover how surviving survival. It's just a little bit harder than survival itself. But there's a really good beginning here, and there's a really good decision that was made. Let's see where this is going. There's a poem, and I'm not gonna know what it is. I just see like a visual of two people on like either side of a wall. And poetry is like the medium that the communication took. There it is. Conflict always wants to fly out. Notice that, especially when it's set. There it is. There it is. But this is we're gonna get to that. This is such a brutal walking away for someone. Holy shit! What a brutal walking away. We're all going to take a moment of silence for those of us resonating and just give like a little honor about what a brutal walking away that is. That's emotional investment. And it's weird because it doesn't necessarily have to take any form. It's just a currency, but it's a really heavy one that like, well, it's good to put it down. Because it was always drowning. All right, let's take a look at this. This is really good bottom of the deck energy. It means like there's a rising up. This is so that I guess we're at the part in the portion of like though we walk through the valley of the death. The volcano, it's like smoldering, but it as it erupts, it's providing light. I mean, in reality, but we're talking about what's coming through. Her momentum and her direction and like feeling alive again, that's really important. Her heart is wide open. That's being shown to me like very clearly. Her heart is so wide open because look, there's nothing blocking it. When there's nothing like left to lose, there's like nothing blocking it. It's something really amazing about this point in time. The will to live is in there, and it's this boiling, gurgling. Life wants. And so there's an explosion happening that is pushing her out of there fast, and it's not unpleasant. It's like it's like she's running on not just inspiration, but fertile inspiration. And it's like a part of her. And her feet are not burning. She's good. So she's moving forward quickly. And in an energy that says like, I'm inspired for more and not anything other than that. So that's this bottom of the deck energy, is that there's this fire propelling you forward. There's this, decision that is actually like in alignment, and so things can start happening again. When you've made a decision that's like out of alignment with your purpose, whether or not you like believe in some predestined map or not, like you feel it when you don't want to do the shit that you don't want to do. Like it's like when you don't want to do what you're doing, it's because it's not you. It's not, and that doesn't mean that like, I don't mean that in like a stupid, like lack of self-discipline sort of way. I mean it in like, if your life feels like a shoe that is 5 sizes too small and it's choking out your foot, feel that's not in alignment with the size of your foot. And so this is a decision that's made, and it's like, I need new shoes. And now walking and where you're going is so much easier. This is lit up from behind. It's beautiful. So you've made a decision and you're able to really stand on this and move forward. And and I see clarity. I'm seeing like the sun here too. This is a voice, your voice, like you found your voice. There's just beautiful clarity, and like those clouds that had been obscuring the way to go forward for so long are out of the way finally. So you're moving towards really like yeah, the throat chakra. Wow, this is so interesting. So I had whatever, I'm just gonna say it. I had a dream. It was somebody was standing a ways off, and the tattoo of the lotus on the neck. And this is showing me right now. So like there's something that needs to be said. But whatever, I don't know, you know, there's clarity and there's a way forward, and the clouds have parted. So with this stuckness, you actually have some very good time for sitting with yourself and being comfortable in that seat. Like there's a snake that like is like intimidating her over here. So she could be having terrorizing thoughts maybe, but she's not. She's looking at this coin and she's like, all right, so I'm going this way. I'm going to ignore this fucking pain, this, whatever this hassling energy is, like ignored. Like, so like, she's able to tune this out, which is so important. So even though there's this feeling of I don't know where I'm going, there's like this is also a position where, you know, whatever like was terrorizing in its own way, it's no longer has your attention, and so you're able to move forward in a way that's practical and in a way that is like building your stability. And I'm hearing like your stability, your nobility, and her heart is open too. Her heart is also open, and she's being like, I'm hearing photosynthesis. She's being fed by the sun. So, you know, sometimes you get to this like place, like deep down, like scary, where you have to generate your own sun. And once that happens, you become something completely new. That is like the conception of resurrection right there. She's able to generate her own sun, and now she can make her way forward in a practical way. I'm like afraid to touch this clarification because this card was so heavy on the way. You know, this is the High Priestess energy. The Record Keeper. This was horrible. This was horrible. In some ways, this is horrible. This is being hunted and trapped at the same time. And I don't think there's anything worse. And so this is awful. And we're going to put that there because this shit is over, right? There is a way to put it down. And I think that's the resurrecting factor over here. Is like there was a way that she was able to like avoid this direct impact by just recording it. Many moons, many suns, like this found from the foundation on up, from the beginning. So she avoided the impact. This was a life-saving thing. It was a way not to look directly at whatever she was meant to see. Oh my God, heavy. Whew. Somebody get me like a drink or something. Anyway, but what created those circumstances that created that light that is just very unique and that like very unique. This is over. This, whatever created those circumstances, this is over. Done. Kaputs. And now we get to begin the resurrection. Let's see what we have here for that. This action taken, and it was, again, every time I look at this, I see like this horse is like, you know, like not happy. It's taking this direction, but this is not a good feeling. And in the reverse, that's what stands out to me. The horse is, like, I read reversals as like, look for the nuance. And the nuance here is like, this horse is like so fucking not feeling it. This is painful. And so this is a painful ending. And whenever I see the Ten of Swords, like in the reverse, like the nuance for me is like when someone's been betrayed, like sword, 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 like 10 of them, like all in the back, and they're like, I'm all right. And they're like, basically like they're like laying there and they're like, no, like everything's fine, like cool. But what they mean is like, if I don't move an inch, if I don't move, like if I don't take even a breath, then I won't feel it. Like I like become the rock or become the stone. Like it's one of these things where it's not just like it's a painful ending that happened. You know, there's lots of betrayal, lots of horribleness, but that like you have to like lay so still that because if you move even just like an inch, you feel all 10 swords, and it's just like excruciating. So it's like it's the person who's in denial of that like gets stuck, really trapped there. And so there's this way in which like it just feels like pain that like not letting go is almost not like admitting that you just need to let yourself bleed out. and by that I mean cry. Really, I mean cry. And not fear it ever, because it's not scary. It's the people around you that fear pain most of the time, and they're like, stop that. Don't remind me that I can't cry either. But you can cry. You know, that's the water body. It's like the filtration system. Cry it out. Because this is really where we have this deliverance, and where we have like coming out of this place of, you know, where, you know, the sad spot, and into, you know, where you find your head again. And you're like, okay, wait a minute, I gotta think straight. Like, I gotta like, and you're walking away, but you're also walking towards yourself, and you're aware of this emotional investment, but you're also aware that look at the horizon. Like, look how much there is, like when she's facing that horizon versus when she's facing the cups. When you're just like facing what you put into something, and that's your vista, it's sad. you gotta go the other, you gotta turn around, you gotta walk that way, and like there's the horizon, like what's out there. And so it's finding your head and getting up and being like, okay, I've been looking at this emotional investment for like a really long time, and it's just ugly. This view is like crap. I've counted these, and like, you know, I painted them, and you know, no, like it's time to move on. And so like this is your resurrection right here. This is what's happening. And so like we're just gonna shift this energy if we want to in a minute. We're gonna see a touch more clarification, and some oracle cards is just going to shift everything into the right direction. So let's just do that. But it's time to walk away. It's time. It's time to walk away. It's time to walk away. And she is. And it's a good idea. And she's very sharp about this. And so, you know, she's being buoyed. What is that when like it's something it's in the ocean. It marks places in the water. Buoyed. She's being like held up, buoyed by clarity. So that's good. So that's not a place of fear, and this is not a place of fear either. And so that's what we mean, like when coming out of this place of, you know, lamenting that like emotional investment that wasn't anything more than this just window of sadness, and this perspective of sadness too. and moving towards the horizon where everything is with a clear head. And so I'm just going to do that. We're not even going to have to flip that upside down because we're moving along. We're moving right along. A little bit of clarification from the angels. And then we'll get the oracle cards out. Right, something just like kind of, what is this? Ace of Wands. Okay, I'm going to put that back in because I'm not feeling like it was really part of it. If it wants to pop out again, it will. Let's see what happens here. Whoa, not so many. Less than that. Here we go, but Five of Pentacles. This is not a surprise. This is when the good news starts happening, though. Trust me, there's a magic in this. Of course, always. Yikes. Not surprising. So that's the Wheel of Fortune and the Tower in reverse. Oh, I'm having such a cool mystical experience right now. All right. Well, 10 of Swords. Put that up right on the 10 of Swords. Painful ending, but that is going to end in revelation. High Priestess. I'm loving this. Like, loving this. And of course, with the Eight of Swords being the bottom of the deck energy, this is why I'm so happy with what's happening here. Actually, I want this up here. Let me do this like that. You know, this is walking away with your heart before you walk away with your mind. Sometimes we got to do it that way. But I love what happened here. I love what happened here. So this Eight of Swords is, you know, this is the angel. Where's that box? There's an angel deck. I'll find out the name and put it below. You're gonna get out. You're getting out. You're gonna get out. You know, the little blurb here about, you know, the God, protector, and savior, like this angel that sort of comes with this energy in a way. It's like, just when you look at it, you know, I probably tell the story all the time, but you know, the Abraham, I think, Moses, damn it, Moses. Anyway, the burning bush was always burning. It's just that he noticed, you know. It's when you notice, like, you know, there's always going to be the way out. Like, there will be. It's just sometimes it'll take this weird, mysterious ways. Like, there's always some way out. I don't know how. I don't even believe it sometimes, but miraculously there is. And this little card, the blurb, really speaks to that. And this is really saying, like, what's coming in. And the bottom of the deck energy for you is truth and justice. Protection from enemies who would steal one's fortune. Like, this isn't losing anything. And realizing that you're free. Which is cool. So, this Five of Pentacles energy, the forbearing God, like, this is what's coming in, you know, to help with this feeling of abandonment and deprivation is patience. You know, revealing the secrets of nature, spreading knowledge in industry. So, like, in this time, you're gonna learn so much about everything, and that will propel you forward. I mean, and you are learning. You're this wouldn't be a death and a rebirth if your mind wasn't being blown and your heart wasn't being like shattered open. So like this is where the journey starts. It starts with nothing. But that nothing is revealing all the secrets of nature, and that nothing is giving us the knowledge to move forward. And of course we're going to move forward because that the wheel of fortune will move us forward every morning. And this is the recording angel. Advancements and progress teaches, guides, and records events in the book of life. So this is saying like what you're going through right now, this is like part of the program for you. This is part of the contract. This is part of what is planned. This isn't like you are in alignment with your purpose if the wheel of fortune is showing up where it is, because again, it's like finding your way forward is making your way forward, and making your way forward is a plan. And that plan is moving forward, and it's moving forward in a way that is to your benefit. This moment, you know, this recording, like all knowing, not seeing, you know, long suffering energy is freed from being trapped and hunted at the same time. And this understanding, you know, when I see the Tower in reverse, I always see an internal collapse. I don't, you know, in the upright, I'm like something horrible, like, I don't know, hopefully not a storm in a tree, it's your house or something like that. But like when I see it in reverse, I see like something is going to happen that is going to make everything on the insides just crumble within you, like just like the foundation, like who am I? That's where this leads right down to like the very core, like who am I, right? And then, you know, this did kind of flip out in the reverse, but I noticed, of course, that the nature of this angel, like there is no such thing, and like it's kind of this wheel of endings and beginnings, right? But revelation protects from sadness, gives revelations and dreams. Like you're gonna get you're going out of this. You're not gonna lay on the floor forever. Like I'm fine. I just can't move at all. You're not going to do that. You are going to bleed out. And I don't know, like either, like this is regeneration, right? So you bleed out, the swords fall out, you know, your sustenance comes from the earth that you're laying on, and eventually you just are able to get up because there's a level of revelation. Something kicks in to protect from like the sadness that you couldn't otherwise like stand from, and the revelations that come to you from that point is the stuff that makes you want to move in a new direction, because you can let go, because you have let go, because it's gone. It's gone. Like, it's gone. And now, like, as you move forward, like, I get like, this is not exciting, this is difficult, but again, this is leading somewhere, and we're almost like to the good part. Almost there. You're clear on where you're going now. You're going that way, this new way that you hadn't expected before at all. You know that you have to leave this emotional investment behind, because as much as you value the tears in all of those cups, as much as you can count each tear and remember where it came from, and there's an attachment, you don't want to leave those tears alone. But you can't, you're not leaving them alone. You know, it's like what I'm seeing here is so beautiful. So it's like, you know, you have to turn it around. You have to leave the confines of this little window, and you have to walk towards the horizon over here. Look how big that horizon is, number one. And everything is out there. This card says success protects from magistrates. Magistrates, my apologies. The God, the eternal, lasting. The high priestess is like this knowing, and she just knows. She walks around knowing, and she can't possibly say everything that she knows. It's just not possible. but she looks, you know, she's sort of like looking at everything here, and she's looking at the way that like change happens, like it ripples like waves, or, you know, like the wind sort of like with a ribbon, like change in every direction always. She holds herself still. But she has all of this that she's seeing out here is within her, right? And so it's like you're not leaving the thing that you're emotionally invested in. You're not leaving all of those tears alone. You're just letting them, like, this is their little altar, and you can't take it with you. And so you know where it is. It's a part of you. It's a place in you, and you can always go back there and visit that emotional investment. Now, maybe not the situation or the person or the thing, but you can visit like that time. You can give yourself. You're not abandoning yourself there. You're going out here with the landscape, and this is still within you. And so it's like this knowledge that like nothing is lost and everything is incorporated. And it's all part of this knowing that there's this greater plan, because there is. And now you're moving towards this greater plan. And this is when we get these oracle cards. Now you're moving towards this greater plan, and everything is new. And let's all just take a collective deep breath together, because this is quite a journey. Deep breath through the nose, if you can. All the way, like try to like suck it all the way. I don't know. Take a really deep breath all the way in, and hold it. Let it out softly. It's hard to let go of like stuff that took so much. That's sort of what Spirit is saying to me as I'm shuffling here. It's like, you know, it's not just like letting go of emotional investment. It's like really understanding how much that took. How much did it take? And honoring it, honoring how much it took, taking the time to do that, taking the time to grieve it. Because again, that's this water body here with the swords, you know, like letting the swords, the swords don't fall out without like this, like the lubrication of letting yourself bleed out, right? So you gotta just, it ends. It ended. Beautiful divine feminine energy right here. That's what I mean, that water body. This is all good news. And that's, you know, this is coming out of chaos and conflict. So the bottom of the deck, like, you know, all of this good news is coming of this chaos and conflict. This was harsh. This is harsh. Glare, sorry about that. But all of this comes, all of like what came out of this, like this chaos and conflict, what came out of it is this beautiful feminine energy, this beautiful divine feminine health, basically. It's a softness that is entering your life, a tenderness, a comfort level that it's just never felt safe enough to believe that this is a place that exists anywhere other than childhood. But it does. And so you're finding your way home, and Spirit is saying, I hear you when you cry for home. Look at that light. That's a lantern. That lantern and that light, that's leading you. You're gonna, you know, there is no place like home. But where this lantern is leading you, you don't know. You're just, you know, how do I put this? Yeah, so Spirit is saying it's more like a beacon, like a lighthouse. It's more like a lighthouse. You're being called home. And so all of these feelings that you're having about this death and this rebirth and this ending and this hurt, you can hear this call now. Like your ear is catching it. And you're like, I can hear something. I'm hearing something. Home is calling. And what Spirit wants to say is just embrace the fact that change is everything. Look at the little hummingbird and look at the balloons. She's standing on the other side of a door that was opened for her, by her, Spirit says. A door that was opened for her, by her. She knows where she's going. She knows what she has. She knows who she is. This is a sense of, like, you're birthing this sense of self that is the other side of all of this. And it's breathtakingly beautiful. And it's Spirit saying, you forgot what happy feels like. You forgot what happy feels like, but it doesn't feel heavy. It feels really light. Spirit's saying you might be getting like weird little moments of it lately. Just like these little flashes of like that lightness of being that was, once, it feels so lost and so far away, but it was such a big part of you for so long. And Spirit's saying like you might be getting like little tiny feelings of it. But we're gonna end on the next couple of oracle cards. So where are we going? So yeah, so you're really coming into this beautiful place, and you can be happy about the fact that this death and rebirth, like you're ending up like not feeling heavy, not carrying this burden anymore. Certainly not carrying this burden alone. The Spirit is saying just right now, trust. This is the time for trust. The bottom of the deck energy here is wonders, And so Spirit is saying, like, the advice for this pile and where we're going to leave this is that Spirit says, I can't really show you wonders unless you trust for, like, look, there's the path, right? There's this path right here. Spirit is like, if you can't trust that this path is safe enough to follow, then there's just no way that I can show you the wonders that are in the next days of this journey. And so there's a breakthrough coming for you, and that's the message in this reading. There is a breakthrough coming for you, but you have to trust. And it's interesting because, at least for me personally, I'm going to diverge out of like the channeling for 1 second. And it's like, for me, like nothing is harder than trust. Like nothing. I don't like anything is easier. And this is me personally. And so this reading is beautiful. So it's coming through, and like just trying to like stop. And anyone who's having this moment of being like, trust, are you kidding? I'm in the valley of death. I come from where do you get this idea of trust? And the technology of hope like incorporates trust, and that's faith too. Like that's like this weird trinity of elements that like this is how wonders are. This is how you see the bush is burning. So part of this resurrection is like really contingent on being able to, and we're gonna get like one more card for just a little bit more in the way of a pointer, but to turn this around so that you're like to have that self-love. And this is like sort of, I see this card, especially this deck, I feel this card, it's like this is that feeling of where you can generate your own sunlight. Like that you only find this in complete darkness under like the circumstances where it's absolutely necessary. But once you discover that you generate your own sunshine, and then these lotuses are like, again, like that's like it's like a voice here, it is a voice. But You generate your own sunshine, and then it's just, that is when the fountain never ends. That is when you know that you are always enough. And you feel it, and there's that confidence, and you can step into the world, and it doesn't matter where you land. Your sunshine you generate it from within. It's, you know, it's not a place of not having anyone and like, or some like independently like stoic, not needing anyone. But no, this is like, no, you just generate your own light, and that's just part of who you are. And it's a gift for you and everything around you, because there's just more than enough, right? It's emotional fulfillment, like, that comes from the divine, and it just generates, like, and you don't earn it. All that to say, you don't earn it. You don't earn it. And so you learn, like, that there's this inherent love that you don't earn, that you just are. And so I'm gonna get a little card from this funny deck. I don't know, I've been grabbing it lately, even though I don't ever like to use decks with like people who, like, with living representations of like people who are living. I don't know how to explain it, but whatever. This is just, spirit is like, it doesn't matter. I use whatever deck to get the message through. But I'm just gonna get one more card. So it's like a musical deck. I'll list it down below. Hold on, let me just put this down. It's a name I don't know. Maria Callas? I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry if I'm doing it wrong. But there's a lyric here. Compromise is the enemy of perfection. Befriend your inner serpent. You cannot survive on sensation alone. This is a call to get out of the comfort zone right here, if ever there was one. You know, it's funny because the bottom of the deck here, we've got Amy Winehouse. Learn to love your turrent heart. Honeymoon should last a lifetime. Treat your scars as your best feature. It's like, listen, let's incorporate this in, you know, like this is like befriend your inner serpent. I was talking to someone, and you know, this comes from somewhere, again, like sometimes like things, I know the difference between men and stuff. If you win every time, you're like, no one wants to hear that story. No one wants to hear, you know, like the story of your life. Like, if you win if every part of the story of your life is this one, I was incredible and fantastic and then wonderful and then amazing, no one's listening. At a certain point, we need this horrible stuff to happen in our lives. It's and propel us in these right directions, because we're not living. There's a purpose, and if you don't believe there's a purpose, then that's okay too. But at least with this reading, there's a trajectory, there's a direction, there's a place where spirit is moving you. And that place where spirit is moving you asks you to take all of this bad, you know, dark stuff, this horrible stuff that happened, and not let it define you and keep you stuck there. And that's where the trust is required, because you can hear that call from home, and you are allowing this more, like your divine feminine energy, like that part of you is healing and is healed. I'm hearing even healed, you know. This is this resurrection of the divine feminine. It's lighter. It's easier. There's a buoyancy to it. It's floating, and it's this is just beautiful. So trust. Yeah, this is so the spirit is saying, like, all that to say, trust. And part of trust is forgiving yourself. You can't really look at the world and trust the world if you see in the world like horrible things in every direction, and you know, because of the bad things that have happened to you, or just the bad things that you've known about or encountered. Like, you have to like step away from those cups and away from that window pane and into this direction that requires trust. And it's okay. You know, there's so many wonders out there, and these aren't things to be afraid of, but that you're afraid, that's part of this befriending your inner serpent. Like, don't trip me out. Just, I hear you, but you're not driving, or you're not taking me where I'm going. But you're well noted. serpent. Yeah, like befriend these aspects of yourself. Because you want to do more than observe. You know, you cannot survive on sensation alone. It's like you want to do more than survive. And you want to do more than observe. And while compromise is the enemy of perfection, it's really lonely there. Perfection sucks. It's that story. I was amazing. It was incredible. Everything was fantastic. Things were things good, like batting things out of the ballpark. I'm the best. Like that's not a good life. That's not a good life at all. And so that's that place of acceptance. And then we have this resurrection that can be happening, right? And so let's trust that there are things that we don't 100% know about everything, everybody, and everywhere, so that we can see what the horizon has to offer and leave the emotional investment that was just a long accounting of all the traumatic incidents and fears and pain. Leave it. Like, we're going forward, and the sun is, you've got it. You've got that valuable lesson. The sun is generated from within, and you're never going to need to learn that one again. So let's trust and move forward, knowing that, like, by trusting and suffering through the solitude and allowing for the change, going on that journey, that this is where, like, that's miracles. And these rainbows also signify you're not going to have to learn this again. So let's do this, because otherwise it's just empty pleasure that doesn't lead anywhere, right? So let's do it, right? So this is the ending of this reading for pile number 1. We're just going to see where we land and see where it applies. Okay, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike the tempest. Yep. This is what's going on. It's time to leave this phase, and where you're going is home, and it's happy. You're going home and it's happy, and you know this, and you trust them. This is good. All right, pile number 1. That was I'm like moved. That was an amazing reading. So I'm gonna go and let's do pile number 2. Wow, look, pile number 1, Act 1, Death and Rebirth. That was quite an ordeal. And so now we are going to move into pile number 2's energy. And again, there's always timestamps if you want to stay for the next pile. You just have to bear with me while I reshuffle stuff and see if I can't. I should just probably stop and start again, but that's what timestamps are for. Let's see. I just gotta like let all this stuff back in somehow. Usually I would like shuffle a lot, but I think I'm just gonna Spirit shuffle for me. Okay, we're good. I'm gonna break into the next group and shuffle while I'm talking to them. Get that vibe. Okay. So group number 2, for those of you that are in that second act, that in between 2 places, that weird land of uncertainty, let's start your reading. So I'm going to pick a random page from here. We're just going to see whichever one it lands on. Oh, Julius Caesar. Flavius. Hence, home, you idle creatures. Get you home. Is this a holiday? Is this a holiday? Yeah. I probably butchered the delivery there, but this, I noticed the feather. That's for somebody. Hence, home, you idle creatures. Get you home. Is this a holiday? We're going to start there. I'm going to drink of water. I have to do a little bit of intense shuffling with your energy right now because I was just doing pile number 1 and I want to spend the time with that. Okay. So if you want to just take a deep breath, intend to connect with me, and I will intend to connect with you, pile number 2. Those of you trying to find your way home. Let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes. Pile number 2. 6 of Wands. Whew. This is great news. It's really good news, especially after pile number 1. What heavy energy that was. So, especially if you came from pile number 1, ooh, good news with that 6 of Wands. Let me tell you. Ooh, there's a story here. There's a story here. Let's see where this is going. Take a deep breath. I don't know why I just needed to say that. Spirit wanted you to know. The sun. Oh, I love this. I love where this is going. The story is, oh, there's a card in here that's flipped. I thought it was. Is there a card in here that flipped? Or am I seeing things? Oh, that's so weird. I would have sworn. Really? Because I felt it. Where is that? No, maybe not. All right. That was a phantom. That was a phantom flip. So this is sort of the act 2 of things, huh? That phase where like you've had that death and rebirth, and now it's kind of, where am I going? What am I doing? This isn't what I thought it was going to be. What am I doing? So we're pile number 2, 7 of Cups and the Queen of Swords. Wow. There's a story. Oh, wait, something else is happening here. There's something else that wants to jump out, and I'll get it. I just position things a little bit. I'm gonna bring this stuff up. Okay. We need another card. So we're gonna get one. Spirit's like, we're not done yet. This is pretty, there's something that happened here that we're going to talk about. There's such good that's coming out of it. But, oof, let's get into it in a second. Oh, there is a card that flipped. There it is. The 9 of Wands in reverse. Oh, I love that. Okay. That's good. That's like a relief to me. This feels like relief. That is relief. 10 of Wands here. I don't know why this is such a relief, but it is. But this is like, this is interesting. You're holding a lot of burden. There's a lot that you feel responsible for, that you feel like is on your back, and it's heavy, and it's all really important. It feels really important. You know, every one of these like wands feels worthy of being carried. So each one of them is something important that needs to be carried, and it's heavy. And it's sucking the life out of all the fun of anything. So let's see what all this is about. Like, this is going to be this is about letting go of that burden, right? So, and where that's going to lead us. Actually, this is interesting. Like, I got scared when I looked at it. Don't be scared of tarot cards, especially in collective readings ever. If you are, that's not probably your reading. You're carrying so much here. This bottom of the deck energy. I just like took a look, and it's like, you know, every single one of these has a reason, a really good reason to carry it everywhere you go, and let it like weigh you down everywhere you go. Each one of these has a good reason. Every single one of them, there's a good reason. But they're heavy, and they're making life suck. Why are they heavy? Because it's your foundation that you'd have to let go of. This is 10 of Pentacles. This is like, this, I always see this as the foundation of any life. And so whatever your foundation of your life is, like wherever you are with that foundation, like this is it. And so every single one of these things is heavy because it's made up of the foundation of your life. And so there's information here though that's coming in. It's like Spirit is saying, like, I know what this is. Spirit's like, yeah. But there's so much I have to tell you about each and one of these, every one of these little weights, you know, that you're carrying. Spirit's like, there's so much I want to tell you about this foundation that you are carrying on your back, for better or for worse. It's requiring so much strength. That's a strength card here. And there is a feeling that of like a level of stock. So let's just take a look and see what this is all about. This Act 2 part of the reading, or, you know, whoever's at this part of their life. Let's go ahead and dig in. So, the energy is like a frenetic, heavy energy. So, but let's just start with this victory over here. Something good happened. Something really good happened here. All right, let's see if I can see. There's something that's being seen totally clearly. Like, I see this clearly. And it makes so much freaking sense. It's liberating. And it's like, oh my gosh, that horrible, like, ordeal. And then I'm hearing release. Release. There's so much release and relief here, and this is good. This is a really good feeling because, you know, coming from death and rebirth and into this new beginning, the first thing that you recognize is that you're not bound by the things that you were bound to when you made like when you were enforcing a smaller life that fell apart. You're not bound to that anymore. There's a breakthrough here. This is a breakthrough card. So you're embarking on this new journey, like that you're in, with a breakthrough that happened. And the Magician in reverse, like I always think about that as being like manipulation. In this deck, I consider that being like masterful manipulation. Like this is the type of manipulation that there's this obvious manipulation. So you're like, so I'm looking at this with nuance, right? So there's a very obvious manipulation. Like you're like, I hear you manipulating, I hear it, I see it, there it is, yada, yada, pop, 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 you know, like that. I'm catching every manipulation. It's so loud, it's so obvious. There's that like obvious manipulation, but like, that's actually just what's distracting you from the level underneath it where the manipulation is like, it's like the obvious manipulation is masking like what's actually moving all the pieces around. That's kind of this weird secret, is that the obvious like masks like what's happening underneath. And so it's like you're so fixated on what's obviously there. So it's like being so fixated on like hold on, lost my ability to speak for a second. So I'm just going to take a deep breath for a minute. Cannot process information that quickly. All right, so you were entering, you know, this new phase of life with this is an epiphany and an insight and a victory over something that held your life hostage for a really long time, because you've seen it. You've seen it. You've finally discovered it. It's like sometimes these sharp epiphanies that bring us to these spaces of like victory in our lives where we're freed and where we end up like somehow miraculously seeing clearly, and like the relief in that is this discovery. The obvious manipulation is just a cover. And so you're able to see what has been harming your life and moving your life in directions like, you know, like where you wake up and you're like, how did I get here? How did I get here? That's why we have the sun. You saw this. I love this so much. I'm like, I feel like we should all like stop and collectively, like whoever's resonating, like a fucking round of applause. You finally saw this truth that was hindering your life for so long, and this is a huge victory for you because you saw. You may not know how you got where you ended up and how you ended up here. You may still just be like, I have no clue how I got here. But you did it. You got away from whatever this is that made you confused about how you got anywhere. So it's like, you know, it's like that moment when you wake up in your life and you're like in your life and you look around and you're like, how did I get here? What the heck happened? Discovering or being able to free yourself from that is like where we're starting and where this is right here with these cards. And that's this brilliant insight, this incredibly brilliant insight. You see things clearly, and that feels really good because now there's like there's a lot less fear when you can see everything around you. There's a lot less fear when you can see everything around you. When you can't see what's around you, it's unpredictable, it's uncertain, it's scary, it's what's that? What is that? Disoriented. So this is such freedom and so much feeling safe. And now with this freedom and this feeling safe and this looking around, this is this moment that you've been waiting for. So where is this all leading? You know, why like the hard, difficult journey to that place of where am I and how did I get here? And then the revelation of like what was sort of tugging on all your strings, like of the puppeteer, like how did this happen? Like now there's this insight, now you're free. So what are we going to do with this freedom and this insight and this ability to see clearly? Well, we're gonna take stock. So this is what this is telling me. There's something really important here, and I'm gonna take a minute with it and I'm gonna sit with it because this is the crux of this reading. And such, I mean, I want to get clarification, but I need to sit for a second on what this is actually like a big deal. So everybody who's here, patience, please. Sorry about the wait, but I gotta look at this. You have something. So I'm seeing that this cup is where everything grew from. And there's this grasp on like, how did I get here? This is how I got here. This is why I got here. And this is, Spirit is saying this is a very new revelation. So there's this sense in which, you know, in your life where things have been too hard to look at, you've had a coping skill that it's like everything that happened to you just accumulated and accumulated and accumulated. You just collected it and collected it and collected it. And there was a sense that you were never going to show anyone any of this. Like, because if you show anyone all of what you've collected, then what are you showing them? You're showing them like ways in which you were weak, ways in which you were like things that you would never want people to see, but mixed in with all that stuff you would never want people to see is all this important stuff. All of these really important things that lead in really important places. You're the only one who can really grapple with this and can really grasp this. And I'm going to clarify this. I'm going to put this down again. But there's a lot that you're bringing with you. There's a lot that you carry. Queen of Swords. You've wised up. You've wised up. And that's what this card feels like right now. It's like you have wised up, you get it, you've seen it, you've got this clarity here. The spell is broken. The spell broke. The spell is broken. Like okay, and that Spirit is like, there's something for a deep breath. Take a deep breath with me right now. We're gonna just like release whatever residue like exists. Like this spell is broken. The spell's broken. It's broken. It broke. The spell's broken. You can't unsee it. That's the beauty of a broken spell. It can't be unseen. So you have this clarity, and now you're wiser. You've wised up, and you see what's going on. Now there's a requirement. Like, and this is feeling more like a revelation to me than anything else. And as the Nine of Wands, something that you defend yourself, you defend it. You've never stopped defending this. This is this Nine of Wands position with this card. It's like the defend till the end, and the strength, the built up strength to defend. But all you're doing with the Nine of Wands, all your time, every minute, every day, all of your mental energy, your emotional energy, your everything energy is wrapped up with I hope this music isn't too loud. I like background music, but I never like get the levels, and we'll find out later, right? All the perfectionists out there are like, why even bother? Because it doesn't need to be anything but what it is. All right, so the Nine of Wands in this position is just, you endure and you defend, and you endure and you defend, but it's a full-time job and it takes everything. So at a certain point, you do have to look at what you're defending and say, this is going to cost me my entire life. So I hope that you got to look at what you're defending. And so I guess we're going to look at that right now. But when it's in the reverse, it's like you do not have to defend yourself anymore. You have seen the light, and you do not have to defend yourself anymore. You can stop defending yourself. It's over. You can stop defending yourself. You have something though. You know your worth. All right, I want to know more. So I'll have to like stop channeling for a second while I shuffle, because I need to give these a really good shuffle. The sun is a beautiful place to be. For me, it's like the epitome of freedom. So I'm so proud of you. Whoever is resonating with this, I just want to take a minute and be like, proud of you for wising up to this. This had a stronghold, that spell. There was a stronghold on you, whatever that was. It's like, how did I get, what happened? Yeah. And then you see it and you're like, okay, things make sense. You were really stuck. You couldn't speak. You couldn't move forward. You couldn't plan. You couldn't speak. You couldn't plan. It set a hold on you. Couldn't speak. You couldn't plan. Oof. That's a very trapped place. That's a very trapped place. But we've got the Wheel of Fortune here with the sun. So the trapped place no more, especially with that Knight of Swords and this Ace of Wands. I love this. I love where this Act 2 part of life, this post-resurrection, like into the start of things, where this is really amazing. We've got the Hierophant on the bottom. I'm going to keep on shuffling because we need one more. But this Ace of Wands, like, you have a new structure, a new internal structure, like how do I explain this? The Holy of Holies. No, it's like, is that? I'll find out. But in terms of putting your defenses down, let me get a card for that. In reverse. There's no need to defend. Might be somebody There might be the, something. So let's do this. Ouch. I felt something pinch my heart. No, just like a pierce my heart. Okay, the Hermit in reverse. Okay. There's a message here. Like quite literally, like the bottom of the deck energy is a message here. There's a message here. A message. This is a messenger. This is a message. There's a message here. So Spirit wants you to, that this phase of life, there's a message for you. And you know, this victory is a victory over your voice and over your own perspective and your own perception. There's a huge victory right now, just like over your ability to like see clearly and then speak again, instead of being all knotted up in a million, like just feeling like you couldn't say anything. And now like you're free to speak, you're able to speak, and you're seeing how you were so silenced for so long. And that's broken. That is broken. This energy really had you held in place. And it's so sad. There's so much here that like, I'm seeing these rings. It's like the rings of a tree, and this is saying like years to me. This is something that had a hold over you for so long, and this just, like, there was no going forward. You had to put all this stuff down. You know, in this reverse energy, it's like you didn't know what you had to work with in terms of moving forward until you were able to yeah, there's something here. There's really a lot here. This Magician in the reverse, this energy, this like, I'm not even sure. So there's a question mark here. Between like the manipulation underneath the obvious manipulation, and that question needs an answer. I'm seeing him pointing. There's a question that requires an answer, and so like it's clear. It's clear. And there's nothing else. There's no more. You can move now. Maybe you don't remember how to move. Like maybe you've been like held in place for so long. You're like, I know I can, but I don't know how to plan forward. I don't know how to make a plan and move toward things. I just don't know how. So it's possible that you just are like, you know, because you were so long in this grip, in this trance. Do you know how to move forward? Do you know? So this is really this energy of like, I don't know how I got here, but I don't know how to find my way anywhere else. I'm so lost, right? This is lost. But also, you know, you are free to go. Almost like the Eight of Swords, but much more profound, because this is related to your purpose, your life purpose, right? And so in terms of planning your way forward, you know, in your life's purpose, you're like, I've been living somebody else's life's purpose for a really long time. I didn't realize it, and it was really scary. But you can move forward, like you can. And that's the beautiful thing is with this clarity and the Sun card, like you have a victory over this silencing. You have a victory over these like, or like I'm seeing like, it's just like these orbits of manipulation and being in service of this other horrible thing. But I can't really say horrible thing. It's just the magnitude is this is what happens every time I touch this. I'm like, magnitude. I mean, this is a big deal. This is not a little deal. Like this is and like to see it in this, to see it clearly is huge, because yeah, now you can go in the right direction. You can move on. You can you can do the thing. And that's the only reason that you're gonna, you're like stepping into like the wheel of fortune is turning in your favor. because you decided. I don't even think you decided. I think it happened to you. You saw. You were like, I see. I see. Now I see. Yeah, I see. Seeing. And so we have this huge fucking shift going on right now energetically, and that wheel is turning. You are unstucking. You're in the process of being unstuck, and that's because you're seeing all this stuff clearly. And a lot of action is being taken on your part towards this, right? There's so much here. I mean, this is sort of like, what I'm being shown is this accumulation all around here, massive accumulation. Like this is like, I'm almost counting years, and it's a lot. So it's kind of like holding your entire like life, like everything that you've carried and that you've recorded and that you have stockpiled, and like all the different formats, really, and all the different ways in which you've been like, it's a coping skill. I mean, that's really what I want to call it, is it's a coping skill. Because there's not enough time to process, like, it's almost like this function of like, there's not enough time to process the trauma. And so I'm just going to like find ways of collecting it and holding on to it. And then the burden of carrying it becomes confusing, because it's, you know, what is to be shared and like what is not, like what is the sanctity of like your privacy versus like what is really important. And because you're now seeing things like so clearly, and this wheel has really turned, and you've been able to sort of start to decipher this stuff, like this is the thing. Like I really see your victory in being like able to stop long enough to decipher those levels of manipulation, because once it clicked, that wheel started turning, and everything from that you collected from, you know, all of these years, like before, and then what you've, in the last, I'm seeing these as like the last 3 months. It's like all of this feeds this, all of this is feeding this, and this is like the volcano, which I don't see that card out, but I'm seeing it in my head. Is it anywhere? It's sort of like this Ace of Wands, like it was the Queen of Wands, and there's a volcano in the background. So it's like this volcano that like wants to be like, holy crap, you know, like this all does that, and now this can be seen clearly. And so there's a lot that you're holding, but it's, the question is like, I think your impulse was to just want to like offload. I don't want to deal with this. Take it away. Like, make sense of it. I don't want to have to do it. I don't want to fucking, nope, just, and like offload it in like, you know, in the wrong places with the wrong people, really. It was an impulse too, but thank God you didn't, because this belongs to you. This belongs to you. That's really because you did this. You lived this. You experienced this. You were close enough to get this, to understand this, to create like this. And now that there's this like understanding coming in, now that there's this like being able to look back at your life and connect those dots backward. Who's that quote? Where's the quote? Maybe it's Steve Jobs, or you can't connect the dots in reverse or something. Anyway, the bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is you've lived these dots. So now that you're connecting them, like this is your life. This belongs to you, and everything that has been produced from this and through your life and your foresight, like this is yours. And so, you know, that impulse to like offload is like, thank God you didn't, because now you're suddenly realizing, there's such an understanding of what you do actually, that this was a knee-jerk reaction, like related to all the pain that led up to like this one moment in time where it was like everything's starting to the ducks are lining up, and now you can make sense of it. But you know, when all of this like life and like people are like, I'm so bored of what you're saying, but listen, when all of this stuff that you've accumulated over all of these years and all of the different mediums in which you've been accumulating as a way of like a defense mechanism instead of looking directly at what was so harmful, you know, there's a wealth there is basically what it ends up being. And so you know, at your first, there's so much pain. Your first instinct was just like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this life that I lived. I don't want to deal with what I have with me. I don't want to deal with the responsibility of what I'm holding. Your first instinct was to try and offload it because it was heavy and it was painful and it seemed like it was just way too much to like sort and understand and get through. But you did the work, right? And that because you did that work, because you were like, okay, I've got to do the work. I've got to like attend to my own life. I've got to look at everything that I've been accumulating all of these years to just like see what it is that I've been missing. And then you saw, like, you know, at first it was overwhelming. This is where it was overwhelming. But then once you were able to see and put it all together, it's like, no, this belongs to you. And not only does it belong to you, but this is really in line. You know, it's like for this longest time, this Queen of Swords is like, I'm getting this energy of like, I don't know that there's a life purpose. What is a life purpose? We suffer, and then we suffer a lot more. And then we suffer again. And then there's even more suffering. And then there's that other suffering. So, you know, she was like in that space, right? Of really just like trying to carry all the suffering and trying to make meaning of it. But now, no, like, every once in a while we have this gift of inspiration from the divine it's like these moments in our life when we sort of look up from the rubble, whatever the rubble, or even just look up from a dream state. Or, you know, these moments when we just look up and we realize, holy crap, everything fits together. It all the pieces of the puzzle fit. So that's this aha moment when you're like, oh no, like there's no such thing as a waste of time. There's no such thing. And so that's this moment that, you know, this is where you're going. You know, you're moving from this place of like, you know, discovering like this whole thing. And now you're at this point of being like, no, it's more than, this is this epiphany in your life that is I'm seeing this as a directional too. It's taking you out of hiding. No more secrets. None of that. Like there's a way out. It's showing you there's a way out of this isolation. There's actually a way out. You know, all this introspection and all this seeing this world, this like very unique perspective, and like being led just by like the light of your heart anywhere you're going. You can put down the burden of how you got here and step into where you're going, and it's huge. It's really, really huge, because what you're seeing is that it's not a burden. It's not a burden. This is the question being answered. And actually, even in a way, like in the process of being answered. And so we're going to get some angel advice before we go into the oracle cards. But the trajectory that we're seeing here for you, pile number 2, in terms of being in the second act of this process and being in this like place in your life where it's in between two places trying to get there. This is happening very quickly. I'm going to say that first. First of all, this is all happening very quickly for you personally. Like, you know, your particular like situation is happening. Everything's sort of coming together very quickly in this. I mean, it's that, like, I'm almost feeling from this, like, this is too quick and it's unnerving, but, because there's like high energy. Yeah, this wheel is turning with like almost like sparks, and you are taking this, wow. You're taking this action. Like, as I was saying, that the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Swords, like, you are taking this action. But the Wheel of Fortune, like, the thing, I always see this, and other people aren't, whatever, I'm looking at what I'm looking at. I always feel like the Wheel of Fortune is very much something I mean, in the traditional deck, there's a little, but whatever, that happens to you, happens, like, it's something that happens to you. So like the Wheel of Fortune is moving and it's a change that's happening to you, but it is setting off this like racehorse with this new insight into this direction of like, seeing oh my God, this is huge. I don't know how else to say that other than like, it's a really big deal. You're going to be seen, heard, and understood, and that's terrifying. But it also makes sense, and that's really weird. You know, so there's like, this change is terrifying, but it also makes sense. So let's get these. I'm always going a little long, but let's see. Yeah, keep going. All right, so there's that feeling of like, I don't want this change. It's too much. I'm scared. It's like way too intense. You're okay. That's what I'm seeing here with the Wheel of Fortune. You're going to be okay. There's no evidence. This serious. You're going to be fine. Okay, let's see. Going. Let's see. So you're going to be, yeah, so I'm seeing movement forward. Like there's just no two ways about it. All right, so you're moving out of this phase of in-between quickly. It's time to get up. It's time to, like, when you're laying in the bed, like thinking for too long, and then you like realize, oh my gosh, I have to be somewhere in 20 minutes. That's kind of the way that your life is shifting, and there's a lot of that energy here. And it's really scary, but it's also like, this is happening, so I have to wake up, I have to get up, I have to do the thing I have to do. So, you know, the message here with not being able to speak for so long, like you're going to be taking your voice, all knotted up, you know, all repressed, and now there's like an ability to speak, and oh my God, this is intellectual richness, protects fertility of women, makes children respectful towards their parents. Like this is an understanding of things. Like this isn't just your voice. This is your voice accompanied by an understanding of things that makes it so epically powerful, that it actually is almost, it's like when word becomes action. And so that's really intense. And with the, you know, yes, the advice here from Spirit is like, basically like you don't know how to go forward. You were held in place for so long. You were like in this position for so long. You don't even know how to walk on your own. It's almost like learning how to walk by yourself again with it. Someone's taking your crutches. What nobody told you is that you don't need those crutches, that you just thought you did because someone like you thought that you couldn't walk by yourself. But oh my God, can you ever? And this is good news. But you know, Spirit's saying like, don't be hard on yourself or critical of yourself, or don't give yourself any guff about the uncertainty of moving into a whole new way. Like, you know, this is like, I don't know how to move forward and plan forward, but like, okay, so then now you have to move into that space. It's unknown, but you got to do it anyway. So you have to move into this unknown space. And Spirit is saying there will be divine revelation. You know, there's a message, you know, it's a message here. It says divine revelation reveals messages, has the power to destroy. So like the uncertainty that you have to walk through, like while you're in this in-between place, is because you're carrying such a message, and it has such a power to destroy that you have to move slowly. You cannot race. That's what this, you almost made a mistake. Why don't you just like offload all of these feelings? Like, no. You know, this is captured feelings. You know, this is something that you have to deal with. So like, you are. And so this uncertainty, it's like, okay, you know, like, be comfortable with it. That was the fear. That was the fear that you needed to get over. And so Spirit is saying like, that was the hardest part, you know. Oh no, we're like going to go faster. We might have like lost some, hopefully not, but I need to get a battery in a second for the thing. Anyway, the spirit of this is, what Spirit is saying is you don't need to, you are not knowing how to go forward and plan forward because you need to slow down. And the uncertainty that you need to get used to is good uncertainty because it slows you down, because you need to slow down and you need to be comfortable with the uncertainty and move with learning how to plan. Since you don't know how to plan, you're going to move planning and you're going to be learning how to plan as you move. And that's a kind of a big deal. And this, you know, this wheel of fortune turning has you feeling like you're, you know, you are trying to hold on to like whatever the heck you have in the way of strength, understanding, and like you're feeling really clinging to this. You know, it's like, so we have self-atonement, cures mental illness, deliverance from persecution. So there's this way in which, like, you know that the wheel of torture is like, you know, the wheel of torture is turning, and it is, right? So like the wheel is turning. I don't know why I said torture, but it really, I guess that was like a slip, a good one of those. So you're like, this is almost like hold your horses. So like, as much as like the uncertainty, like you want to sprint out of it because it's uncomfortable, there's also a sense in which you want to figure out, like there's a part of you that wants to cling to what was because it was just comprehensible. And this forward motion is not that comprehensible. But you've got the Page of Swords and the Knight of Swords. Like, that's really telling you with all of this that you're carrying, like this is, you know, this life that you're carrying, and like all of the ways in which it's sorted, you're taking action on your own life. And it's like Spirit saying, like, you're creating the map forward with your own words. Refuge governs dreams and reveals mysteries hidden from mortals. This is your life. These are your mysteries. These are your things to like go through and deal with. This is your message. And this message is so you're taking action to take your life, and you're making your map forward with your own words. And that's really beautiful, because you are absolutely, you know, this gift of like understanding your own power, really like being like, oh, wait a minute, this is mine and this is my power. And then fuck, it's a lot of power, but it's a lot. It's hard. This is difficult. And there's a lot to be worked out, because this is such an intense, like, it is really big. But what Spirit is saying is you do have the emotional intelligence to manage this. It seems like it's too big for you to deal with, because the Spirit, I'm hearing, like, you know, I don't want to deal, like, this has been a solo mission for, so like over decades, like I'm hearing, well, maybe not quite that long, but really around there. And so this like knowledge of like, you know, this is my life to move forward with. These are my like inspirations, ideas. Like, this is the stuff that I've accumulated for me, mine. Then there's the knowledge of like, oh crap. But you know, this is kind of, there's a sense in which it feels a little bit overwhelming. But what Spirit wants to tell you about all of that is like, it's exciting, but overwhelming and confusing. Well, confusing. You do have the emotional intelligence to handle all of this. And so maybe you feel like you don't, but that's where Spirit is saying you definitely do. Redemption serves against enemies, or religion governs chastity. But, you know, this Queen of Cups energy, God the Redeemer, like, you actually, I know it seems like that's a lot, because it is a fucking lot. It is. It's a lot. But believe it or not, you're stronger than you think. You have the emotional intelligence to do this right. And you are. And you really, you're going to do it. Perseverance, success in conflict, overcoming adversity. See, the thing about this is like, you don't see a way out of, you know, you putting down your defense of yourself, your defense of others, you putting down that defense, like, then holy crap, you're not hiding anymore. You're done hiding. And so Spirit is saying, like, you almost have, there's like, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee this. You can't unsee this. What had you stuck for so long? And so you're in motion, and this movement forward, like, there's no two ways about it. This, there's movement here. There's movement, and the reason why it's important, and the reason why there's no not taking that leap, and it's not even a leap, you're just, it's almost like a push, is because I think seeing things clearly actually frees everyone. And it's a weird thing to come through, but there's like this message of like the liberation, like when you are free to be, like, since there's another reader, I think her name is Chloe something, and I should link it because I'm like terrible at remembering these things, but she always says, you know, when you're authentic, you give, when you give yourself permission to be authentic, you give everyone else around you permission to be authentic. And this is the key. Like, I'm seeing a keyhole here, and like that it's almost like you start the ball rolling, like you say that truth, and then that's the path that is blazed forward, right? So there's movement here, and that it's inevitable. And so like as you're like in this place of in between, like what Spirit wants to give you more than anything else, and I'm going to close with a couple of oracle cards, is movement. There's movement here. And so if you feel stagnant, if you feel like you've been stagnant, you know, understand that you have had victory over finding your voice, like clearing your head, being able to speak and articulate and like and you've had victory in terms of this sight, you know, really being able to see like the manipulation between the manipulation and ways in which your life was being like sucked from you, and like you felt powerless. And yeah, you're in this uncertain place of having power and not knowing really, you know, like the direction forward, but it's happening. Hold on to your horses. Like, of course you want to hold on to some semblance of feeling in control, but you're not. And just know that the action being taken, you know, in your life going forward is action that you're taking, and that you're creating the map forward with your words, and that this is power, and you've earned, and you have the emotional intelligence to handle it. So there is no, the stagnant that you're feeling is it's like the race person who's racing, and it's like your mark, get set, go. It's that place between when you get into the position and then you start running. Like, this isn't the longest transitional period I've ever seen. In fact, it's like one of the shortest ones. This is a time to observe. Like, you're so eager, I guess, probably to not be alone with all of like your process and, you know, how you're moving forward. But at the same time, you need this. You need this time to like observe what you're looking at, to be fair. Like, honestly, because there's tricky stuff here, you know? And so like as you move into this newness, you also it is a lot of responsibility. And since it is a lot of responsibility, like your life is a lot of responsibility, and everything entailed within it is a lot of responsibility, moving it forward to that place where, like, you know, where you get that, well, that movement forward is happening for you. But for things to be balanced, for things to like happen in a way that is sane and comfortable, you gotta sit and look at every little thing and think about this very, very, very closely and carefully, and make very wise judgments, because there's a lot of chaos and conflict in the life that you have to sort through and make sense of in order to create that map forward with your words. And, you know, like, while you have this bottom of the deck energy of like milk and honey, patience, basically, like what that says is just, Spirit is just saying, this pile number 2, those of you that are in this like middle phase, this uncertainty, this like from between two spaces, that act 2, patience, slow down for this to happen in a way that is like balanced and sane, where all of this information is really sorted and understood before you like react to it. It's like you don't want to be reacting. It's a lot of reacting because it's a lot of triggering. But be still with the chaos and conflict in yourself and sort it out, even if it's super uncomfortable, because that's what this time that you're given is all about. You know, be open, be open to, instead of like trying to get somewhere, like point A to point B. You know, I see this, I want to do that. You know, there's just like this quality of like, it's like an impulsive, like, and it's because of like you're in this healing chaos. So you're looking at everything and like you're like evaluating, like, and moving into the space of like, wow, freedom. That's what this Hermit in reverse is all about, right? You're moving into that, not defending yourself. You're moving into that freedom. You're moving into this freedom, like, but take it slow. Take it slow, because there's a lot to like sort through, and be fair to yourself and others, and, you know, and figuring out like, because there's a lot of energy here. Like, that's what I'm feeling more than anything else. It's a weird reading, I know that, because I'm feeling like, damn. You need to be open to allowing for the healing chaos. See, that's the thing, like the chaos and conflict, the pain of it, as you're like looking, you know, as you're trying to manage all this like in-between stuff in this in-between space, there's chaos and conflict. There's also healing. So this is a healing chaos. So by sorting through this stuff, you're healing this chaos within you, and be open to what you see. You know, Spirit really wants you to be open to what you see, because there's freedom. in all of this. And that's what I was saying before. It's almost like this free, you know, you are understanding all of this that you hold within you in your life. It's like, it's almost like it sets everybody free, right? And so there's just this call to just like be still, be calm, not be reactionary, and allow for things to like actually even continue to develop, because it's almost like you were carrying all of this and like no one was ever going to see it. There was this like, like I want to call it like it's like an incident, you know, like, but it's not. It's a number of incidents that caused a reaction, and that reaction made sense of so many things. And there's this impulse to be like, okay, like there's sense, like action, but actually there's more. Spirit is saying there's only 7 cups here, and there's 10 cups total, so you're not even done discovering. So be open to what's in front of you, and be open to what you're seeing, because honestly, like there's a sense in which this is valuable, you know, like this is your job. This is your job, and nobody else is going to do this job for you. And so that's it. Pile number 2, you know, where you are in terms of this act 2 sort of space in your life, in between 2 worlds, between where you were and where you're going. Take this time to be the observer. Really look at everything. Really evaluate all of everything that you've been carrying with you inside and around you, and all the different ways that you carry things. And there are lots of different ways. It's almost like you have so many modes of expression, and for as many modes of expression as you have material, like I want to say like material wealth, you know? And so sit with it, move through it, look at it, you want to be fair. And that means like, sit with this chaos and conflict of sorting through all of this. It's like, this is like, it's inside you, and it's like, it is painful to sort through it. But as you sort through it, now that you have this new understanding, you know exactly what you're looking for. It's going to heal you, right? So just be open to this process, and just let this process be what it is, because it's really yielding something. So you are act 2 very much in the process of, but what Spirit wants to let you know is this is leading somewhere really important for you. And so that is your reading today, pile number 2. I'm going to go and plug in, I got to get a plug for this phone. But thank you for sitting with this reading. And if anything resonated, I always like to hear comments if you want to leave them. All right, pile number 2. I'm going to go on to pile number 3. It was such a good reading. Does. Okay. Oh, no chance I'm going to spend time editing this. So if, why did that get turned off? Shit. Sorry, everyone, for the lack of production quality on all things. This isn't my forte. All right. Ow. Let's go. Maybe I can cut this out. All right. I should cut it out. Probably will. Let's do pile number 3. Shittiest tripod imaginable. Oh my god. It's like broken. There we are. Hopefully that's better. All right, pile number 3. The phone is a little crooked because I had to plug it in, and now I'm having like a bit of a crooked situation here. Let me see if I can adjust this when I'm not shooting. I need like a wrench to make this the right way. Okay, pile number 3. If you were just with me for all the dramatic plugging in the phone and everything, I don't think I'm going to edit because I really just, I'm limited on time. And I want to get these readings out. So timestamps for everybody. All right, pile number 3. This is your reading. So this is Act 3. I started shuffling prematurely because what I want to do with this is, so you picked the love sonnets of Shakespeare, and so we're gonna flip to one to begin the reading. And it's a long one, actually. I didn't expect that. I thought these were all gonna be pretty short, but I'll read it anyway. 66 is a number. I don't know if anyone that someone needs that number. Okay, so I'm gonna read this. Tired with all these, for restful death I cry, as to behold desert a beggar born, and needing nothing, trimmed in, oh my God. See, here's the thing. I need to like read this ahead of time. This is Shakespeare. Tired with all these, for restful death I cry, as to behold desert a beggar born, and needy nothing, trimmed in jollity, and purest faith unhappily forsworn, and gilded honor shamefully misplaced, and maiden virtue rudely strumpeted, and right perfection wrongly disgraced, and strength by limping away disabled, and art made tongue-tied by authority, and folly doctor-like controlling skill, and simple truth miscalled simplistically, and captive good attending captive ill. Tired with all these, from these would I be gone, save that I die, I leave my love alone. And then the next page is, I think we're gonna leave it there, but wow, that's really beautiful actually. The other piles, it was like these little sentences, it was never really a long thing, but I'm glad that was, because that was a really nice place to start this Act 3, this like fully resurrected, this new life, this, you know, having had to start from a new place, being in between, and now where are you going? So let's like look at where you're going with all of this, what this phase is. I have to take some time shuffling because I didn't, you know, I've just actually been going from pile to pile. I haven't gotten up yet, so we're gonna just take some breaths. If you would just take a deep breath right now, take a deep breath with me, intend to connect with me, and I will intend to connect with you. And then we can start this out. I wonder if just make sure this plug is actually working, but I guess I can't, so we're just gonna hope for the best. Okay. Pile number 3. Where are you going? Where are you going, pile number 3? 3 of Wands in reverse. It's looking like 8 of Cups, somewhere new. Somewhere completely new. Yeah. Let's keep going. Ah, here we go. 6 of Cups. Thank God for soulmate. My God. Exhausting. I don't know why that came through the way that it did. Okay, one more, and then we'll look at this before we clarify. Okay, so there's a lot that just came through, but I'm going to take that one. And then we're just going to whip through this real fast. So at the bottom of the deck energy, you've got the 4 of Wands in reverse. And so this is actually like, we're not quite at completion yet, but we are well on our way, right? So I'm going to work with these, because we're going somewhere good, I think. This is a whole new beginning. It's like so beautiful. You're like, wait a minute, new beginning? I thought it was just like doing the whole new beginning thing on my own. We're gonna put one more card here, right? The bottom of the deck energy, like everything sort of wanted to move forward. So I'm gonna just like run through like the sentiment of what Spirit is wanting to say. Because Spirit is saying like, just before you conclude with Act 3 being like the last, you know, destination, you know, what we're going to be talking about in terms of where you're going, like what's happening going forward for you is, you know, that we're acknowledging that there has been this tremendous broken heart, and that you've had to find your balance. Like I'm almost seeing like your center of gravity. You've had to like you've had to put you in the middle of your life, basically. Instead of having your life revolve around other people, like you've had to be the thing that your life is revolving around. And so you've gotten that balance of that your life revolves around you in like the way that you're, not to say like selfishly, but just generally speaking, like you're your gravity, you know? But this broken heart really taught you who you are in a lot of ways. And there's been a lot of Five of Swords, like in the reverse. Spirit saying it is time to put this conflict down. Because with Temperance in the reverse, like there's a need for fairness, and balance. There's a lot here with the Eight of Pentacles, you know, there's something that's being built here. So you're in the process of really getting, this is, the gist of this is, Spirit is saying this isn't so much where you're going as the process that you are in as you arrive. And as you arrive, you're at this Eight of Pentacles place. And so it's like acknowledging the heartbreak that has taught you who you are, getting up off of that like bed of swords in so many ways, because it was, you know, with the Five, it's like conflict and just being ready to put that down. There's nothing wrong with yeah, you're supposed to go forward in the right way, and that's basically what Spirit is saying. Spirit is saying like you're coming to a place of completion, but like as you complete, like you got to do this right. And so that's what this reading is going to be like. Let's look at this in the right way. Three of Wands and Eight of Cups. This is like this says disappointment, and is so perfectly. Your Three of Wands is like when you put all kinds of like work and effort and grit, and then you're waiting for your ships to come back in. You're waiting for that effort to like return to you, you know, in a new form, basically. And so this is just feeling like, you know, like waste of all of that. Nothing is coming back. Nothing that I had, you know, it's almost like you set your hopes to sail, and then they're supposed to yield what you're hoping for. And this is just really like hope delayed makes the heart sick. And so that's this point that you get to where you're like, I have no choice but to walk away because my heart is getting really, really sick. And you do, and you did. And in the last reading, we were talking about how the Seven of Cups, it was just like this accumulation that needed to be sorted of like life experience that was like recorded and held in all the different ways in which you held it in your life. And for all, you know, like just your key, like this is, you know, I was looking at that like 7 years, but this is, and it's, obviously that's like much longer than that, but it's like this accumulation of stuff that needs to be sorted. And, you know, when I see this Eight of Cups here, you know, the work that you have to do, and you gotta walk away because you're not going to see what goes where in terms of all of this like emotional investment. You're not going to see how to sort things clearly. There's almost like a way in which like you'll be too close. That's like Seven of Cups is really being too close to like the emotional, you know, holding that in chaos is really hard. And so Spirit says like you need the emotional distance. Like you need to be able to like walk away so that you really are able to sort all of the stuff and know what direction to take, instead of, you know, there being so you're walking like, so you're basically, I know I'm really in like a haze right now, but what I'm meaning to say is that like, you know, this idea that the things that you expected to yield a return on didn't. And what you're currently doing in this process of walking away is really, it's leaving what no longer serves you, leaving what was never going to serve you, and like leaving something that was leaving illusions and delusions and the stuff that isn't worth carrying behind, and stepping into a whole new place. And you are. And what Spirit is saying is like what you're going to get as a gift is once you're able to sort of put down the weight of leaving, you will have such a surge of vitality And that is this charge forward in this new direction. And there's no two ways about it with the Fool here. It is a new direction. Spirit wants to assure you that you're not going to have to always carry all of this stuff alone. It's not a forever situation. Like I'm seeing this hand again, like holding, you know, having to hold all of this. And Spirit is saying, no, there's a way to like distribute the weight of all of this. And there's the Six of Cups. I always think soulmates, like I always do. But, you know, in this deck, I'm actually seeing like 6 soulmates almost or something. Like there's others. You know, you've like learned to carry everything alone for so long, because for the longest time it was like what you were carrying, it was just something to be concealed. But you're not going to have to do this by yourself. There's a totally new start coming that is like brand new everything. Brand new perspective, brand new way of approaching things, brand new way of seeing the past, like brand new strength in which to work from, a new understanding. I'm seeing this wolf right here. I'm like zeroing in on the wolf. I'm zeroing in on this like alligator. Actually, it's a dog because this is the Fool, right? But I called it a wolf, so there's something to that. I'm so struck right now, like, so just give me a second. Let me just look at this. See, this Fool is holding this dog that I call the wolf. And with a gentle hand, too. There's an understanding that I am seeing here, like, as it's almost, I feel like the Fool's blind, yeah? So, but there's this light that is actually, like, directional in nature, and that is just influencing, naturally, like, influencing, like, the progression forward. It's almost like fate stepped in and said, like, here, you were looking in the wrong places, the wrong things, and in the wrong way. And now that you're getting this understanding, and that you're having this understanding, and that you're, like, walking through this, like, you've got this wolf here, and there's a level of like I want to say self-command, right? This is scary, wherever this new thing is and whatever this new stuff is. And you have to sort of like, you know, feel into your heart and say like, well, where am I going, right? but that's where Spirit is saying, no, like, I'm leading you. I'm like, Spirit is saying, like, I'm messing with circumstances in such a way that, like, where things went, like, horribly awry, there's just such a beautiful course correction. And this King of Cups energy is you. In this particular, like, spot, this is you. And so, like, in the King of Cups is like sitting on, you know, it's a rock. He's on a little island of himself, and from this little island of himself, he is able to like have mastery over all of his emotions, and it really influences like the environment like around him. But like the King of Cups is more of an observer and more of a thinker, and like more of a philosopher, I always think. But he holds, you know, he, like, again, he's alone. He's very much like alone. I always see that. Because it's almost like for the King of Cups, like knowledge is so deep, like it's such a deep knowing that like it seems like irreverent to put words to it, but then he still ends up like kind of isolating himself in that like, well, this is too much for words, like, and so you're meant to pull this forward. You're meant to pull this forward. You're meant to pull your life forward, and everything that you have collected and accumulated and all the hundreds of hours that you have, like, you're meant to pull this forward. And there's inspiration, and there will be people that you can trust. You know, there's learning with that. But what you're learning also is it's almost like this, like through this process of, you know, starting anew, you know, feeling your way through like what didn't work out, like being able to walk away from it, being able to move forward into something new, the vitality. The Spirit's saying you're gonna, that's where these relationships come in over here. And this thing starts over. And you get to actually pull your life forward on your own terms. And that might be new for you, but it is new for you. And you're going somewhere. I mean, we're gonna get some clarification on that, but you're really going somewhere with all of this. And so let's see where this is taking you. Let's see where this is taking you. Do a nice hearty shuffle. Sorry, it's taking a bit. I should edit this, but I probably won't. Because again, I like to just like deliver these messages. I don't always have more than that. Timestamps. Okay. I guess if I'm timestamping it, I can edit it, but whatever. We're gonna not digress. So let's get some clarification on all of this. But it's looking like, you know, basically Spirit is saying like you are strong enough, powerful enough to move your life forward. And you don't actually, you know, you don't need help. I think that's the scary thing even. Yeah. You'll get help, but you don't need it. And I think that's kind of the message that, you know, Spirit wants to say with this last sort of act of, you know, your process is, you know, in terms of where you're going, when you get there, you're going to realize that you're enough. When you get there, you're going to realize that you're strong enough for you, and that you want people, and you're going to have people in your life. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, look at the Six of Cups twice. Can you believe it? And the Six of Wands, victory. Oh my gosh. Two of Cups. Everything is happy. All right. Like, you've been defending something for so long. You've been defending yourself for so long even. It's time to put the defenses down. And I think that is really this coming home to yourself. And it's almost like you've been looking out at this, like all of your effort, nothing in return, and just thinking that there has been so much lost potential in your life. It's like you've been like, I had so much potential. I had so much potential. And for everything to just be taken. It's Spirit saved you from this. Spirit saved you from this. You saved yourself from this. I'm hearing like you didn't know that like the way in which you were collecting and holding on to things, like, I don't mean hoarding. I'm speaking about like with discernment and whatnot, that you were doing it to cope with the silence, right? But you didn't lose all of the potential of all that you put out there that didn't make a comeback, right? You still have it. I'm hearing like a round of applause that you walked away, because had you, almost spiritual, almost like, had you spoken a minute too soon, you wouldn't have it's like you almost abandoned yourself and then you didn't. That's what Spirit is saying. Spirit is saying you almost abandoned yourself because you couldn't figure out a way to speak in your own voice. You know, it's like you were like, you almost didn't. I'm seeing this book, you know. You felt so limited to the written word almost, you know, but Spirit is like, thank God that that's all you. Let me just like take a minute to try and articulate something that's hard to articulate. For so long you sat with knowledge, insight, wisdom, materials. It's like in every form and format and every kind of way, you saved so much, but you were silent and you felt like you had to be silent and you were just limited. You were so limited. I'm looking at this book, this feeling of being so limited, so so unable to use this voice of yours, and that like you were so close to losing your voice, but Spirit is like you walked away and you did it just in the nick of time. You did. And even like, you know, the lucky thing with this is that like this is where fate stepped in, you know, for many of you, and because I'm feeling this strongly for many of you, where fate stepped in is that you were forced to walk away. The silence like really forced you to walk away. And this is like, it's almost like Spirit is saying, but yeah, but this is because like Spirit at least knew, you know, and so by walking away, you find out that you have a voice. You're in the midst of, you're like in the process of a death. And you might feel, and that's, you know, we started in the beginning with like this death and this rebirth. But, you know, in order for this vitality and this inspiration and this taking your power for yourself to happen, you have to finish out this, let that last bit of heartbreak kind of just break, you know, like let it go. Like just, like let this, look at this skeleton looming over this little light she's holding. She's got this light. And there's something really monstrous behind this curtain, but she's got this light with her. And Spirit is saying she's going to learn how strong she is and how valuable, like, the contribution of her inspiration and like this person that you're represented by is going to have their vitality, but they have to have their vitality because they have to face this behind the curtain and really allow it to no longer loom large and scary over them, no longer be threatening, and let go of letting, like almost taking, you take the power away from this monster that you've been trying to sort of like negotiate within yourself in order to avoid having to change. And Spirit is saying like you take change and you have the vitality to defeat that which has held you back all of this time. And so like that's where we're seeing like this major change. You've got the 6 of Cups and the 6 of Swords and the 6 of Wands, and I'm telling you, this is like, and I think there were 6s somewhere, but wait, did we start with 6s over here? No way. All right, so 6, 6, 6, 6. So this is the thing. You're going places. You are like past. Where's that other card? Where'd the card go? Oh, here it is. 6 of Cups. Push on. Keep going. You're on the right path. Things are moving in a really good way. You will have help. You're not going to have to do this all by yourself. So don't worry about it. But right now, you're going into a calmer place with all of this. You are moving forward into a calmer place with all of this, and it's victory. This new start for you is absolutely victory. You're coming home to yourself. You're feeling safe in yourself again, and you are being propelled forward. And this is going to bring a lot in the way of being seen, understood, and heard. This 2 of Cups, I always see it as like 2 people that just like, they click, they get each other, they understand each other. You know, something about the past and the, you know, there's like, they just get it. And Spirit is saying like, this is doing everything by yourself, you know, like, by letting this stuff happen, by facing the change that needs to happen, you're just moving into this beautiful new space where there are soulmates and there is a calmer space without these storms and tumultuous, and you're moving into a place where you get to be at peace. And that's a victory. Like this new start for you is a huge victory, because by understanding that you're pulling your life forward and that you're strong enough to pull your life forward and you have the emotional mastery to pull your life forward, and that by doing that, you really do have something to offer. And you know it. And you've really come home to yourself in realizing that. And so we're going to get some advice from angels. This is so beautiful. Let's see, are we straight at all? Kind of. I love this is like a resurrection, third act, like pile 3, like love. You know, the love story here in terms of the love sonnets is that you belong somewhere. And and when you face this change, when you recognize that you were saved, you know, in this weird way, like being forced to walk away, it's just like, it was like this, it was the most saving thing imaginable. Because where you're going, what you did, it's not gonna, you know, your ships aren't coming back to the port that you sent them out from. You know, your ships maybe not coming back to the port from which you sent them out from, but they're coming from a port that is a victory for you. Huge victory for you. And that's what you need to breathe into right now. Because I think the hardest part of this third, you know, for pile number 3, like the hardest part of this resurrection phase and like where, you know, the divine union really does occur for you. I totally lost my train of thought. That was really powerful. I think it just, yeah, it was just as encouragement. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. I'm gonna just get some advice from the angel deck, and then we'll get some oracle cards, because this looks so beautiful. I mean, I want to look a little bit more at, like, it can't be this much good news, because it's not. Yeah, your ships aren't returning to the port that you expected them to, and you were kind of forced to walk away from something you maybe didn't plan on. Yeah, the Empress again. Empress in the upright. But allowing for this change and finding your voice, man. Smooth sailing, being heard and understood, and that's a victory, and that's where you're going to get that wish fulfillment. I'm just looking at the 9 of Cups that came out as I was saying that. Fast, actually. You know, you're almost done with the hard part. You know, this change, letting this change happen, like you're so close, and it's going to happen really, really quickly. Interesting development there, and we're just gonna, yeah, that's fine. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, sorry, talking to myself a little bit. Queen of Wands. That victory is, you're looking good. All right, so I'm just gonna take this as one little, yeah, so the Hermit in reverse, 5 of Pentacles in reverse, Knight of Pentacles. This is a beautiful new start for you. Like, it's the real deal. You've spent a lot of time in this space of like healing. You've been held in place for so long. Mission protects against slander and impious people. This has been your mission, right? And you have been in this space for so long, holding all of this for so long, keeping this for so long. You'd given up on it. So it's like, you know, you've gained this mastery over your life and the way that you've organized things. And Spirit's like, this, you need to know this. You need to know that you have this you've been healing for so long, you don't realize how healed you are, is almost what Spirit wants to say. And so, yeah, so you, like with the Empress in the upright over the Empress in the reverse, with what Spirit is saying is like, no lost potential. This felt like all this lost potential, all this lost creativity, none of it. Nothing was lost. That's the brilliant thing. Nothing was lost. Fertility and fruitfulness assures peace between married couples. Nothing was lost. That's what Spirit is telling you. It's just not going back where you thought it was going. It's just a perspective shift. You still have everything. You know, it belongs to you. And the only difference is that you're taking your power back, and you're seeing that it belongs to you, and you're seeing that this is yours. And that the potential that you thought was lost, you were the potential that you thought was lost, and you still have all that potential, and you are you're abundant. You know, everything that you, like all of that gestation over time and like this willingness now to like, I'm seeing this running like into like 9 of Cups is wish fulfillment, healing, preserves health and cures diseases. You're taking flight with everything, really. At a good pace, you know, 9 of Pentacles, not at a crazy pace, at a really good pace. But this is like, this is going to be easier for you because the weight of being stuck with it, you're like releasing a lot, you know, walking away, finding your voice, understanding like all that you have available to you, and not looking at the limitations, accepting the change. This is propelling you forward in a beautiful way where you're like, I know what I want now. I'm starting to see what I want. I'm starting to see who I am. I'm starting to see what I'm worth. Going from 8 of Cups to 9 of Cups, you're moving forward fast. And from the Princess of Wands, you know, that vitality, that's going to be enough strength, and that is enough strength, and you're in this process. I see you in the middle of the wheel as the fortune, you know, as it turns. Like, that's what I'm seeing here. This change is good. And it's going to happen really quick. You're going to get a lot of information super quick. And you're going to be like, crap, this is good change. 7 of Swords. I want to stop right here because this is important. This is... 7 of Swords is often about like deception, hiding stuff, lying, you know. You're starting to see like... Your friends are the people who are nice to you. You know what I mean? Like... that are considerate and respectful, and like, I'm gonna say something that's coming through and it seems like it's from left field, and it's probably for someone very specific, but for a very long time there was like, and this is like coming out like a masculine kind of thing, like I don't want to just outright say daddy issues, but I feel like I have to. Like, I don't want to just come out and say like, this is, you know, it's a masculine daddy energy kind of an influence here. This 7 of Swords was you deceiving yourself. Really. Like, thinking that you needed a daddy to save you, to make your life okay. Like, and that's, again, like, play with the genders, because this is not about that. This is about looking for a preventified relationship, and instead of being aware of your strength, your power, your independence, and your like, it's all there. And so it's like you were deceiving yourself into thinking that you needed that kind of like help, or that you needed that kind of influence in your life. It was like one of the main things that became so abundantly clear, is that was just a holdover. That was a holdover from childhood. That was a holdover from the past. But you're breaking free of that, and you're able to finally understand after like it must have taken. I'm like, Spirit saying it took you a long time, like really long time, to see that there's this is your life. This is your precious cargo. And you're moving away from somebody else's storm. And you're lying to yourself to think that that's where you belong, because where you're going, for the right reasons, independently, you're going to be able to, like, you'll feel safe enough without this, without being a servant, or without being afraid of that, what could happen, you know, without being afraid of this. And you're not, you're not, you're seeing your way through that, you know, you're seeing your way to say like, change is good, independence is good, and fearing it. As you stop fearing, you know, this change and this independence, like, this is when Spirit is saying, this is when you're going to meet your soul family, because they're going to understand you. None of the people who aren't going to understand you are going to understand you, and you want the people who understand you, not the people who already misunderstood you. You want the people who understand you, to help you carry this precious cargo, because there's a destination here. And so, you know, Spirit wants to just like stop you in your tracks and say, like, you know, you've seen the light. Knowledge of good and evil appeases divine anger, cures epilepsy. You've seen the light, and it was painful, but that's good. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we need that searing pain and to show, to like unblind us. Sometimes we need a searing pain. This is coming through weird. Sometimes we need a searing pain to see the light, like Paul on the road to Damascus. Like sometimes we need to go blind in order to know that we, you know, there's this weird thing in which, like, yeah, it's like the story of Paul on the road to Damascus. Like, you've seen the light, and it's victory. You've seen the light and it's victory. Seeing the light is victory in and of itself. What's even better is that you're stepping into this Queen of Wands position where, you know, like I'm seeing this card, it's like you've been protecting yourself. You know, it's like you've been holding this, you've been holding tight. And it's like collecting and accumulating and divine power guards against mental troubles. It's like you've been holding this burden of all these years, you know, that you have been holding the weight of your life in tangible form, and so afraid for this one, afraid for that one, afraid for that one, afraid for this one, afraid for that one, afraid for that one, and all in the guise of not realizing how afraid you were for yourself. But this is this beautiful thing. The victory here, and why you're having this new beginning, is because you've discovered your power, and you've discovered the value of what all the work that you've done, all the work that you've done that you thought was just for something else. It's for you. It's for your new start, and this is a victory for you, and you are stepping into this beautiful place with all of this, and you know, I'm hearing trust divine detours because they lead you in the right direction. This King of Cups energy is like it's a sovereign nation. I'm feeling like, I don't know why I'm saying that, but there's this system in which it's like it's this emotional holding space for so much. By holding that space for as long as you did, you've got a really good start. You did away with being satisfied with abandonment and being treated like crappy and being, you know, this is like that Five of Cups, you know, being left out in the cold. You're not doing that anymore. You're not going to hide anymore. Not for anyone else, not for yourself. You're no more hiding. You're going to let yourself be seen. And you're going to do this in a way that is smart, planned, at a pace that you can manage. And it'll lead you to the people who will see eye to eye, that will really click. And so we're going to look at oracle cards right now in terms of advice, but this is like such a beautiful pile. You know, there is union here. There is union here. There's union with yourself, and then there's union with another, but there's also the union with yourself and the union with another. Like, I have to point out, like, there's union with many others. I'm not, like, there's partners, and then there's partners. Like, it's, thank God. Yeah, I just want to say, like, thank the goddess that, that you healed from this thought that, like, you needed somehow to, your life is for you. It's not, your life is not to have approval from your father or any kind of a masculine energy that operates like in that kind of frame of mind for you for whatever reason. Like there's a freeing of that, and that's really, really powerful. And like once you're free of that, then you can be in a mature relationship, and then spirit's like, here's your mature relationship. You know, then like you can handle, it's like you needed the truth. The Seven of Swords here, you know, you needed to see the truth about yourself. This is you, and this is your precious cargo. It's not for anybody else. And it's leading you to the right kind of relationships. Not relationships where you're just trying to solve problems from childhood. So be at peace. You know, you ended that tough cycle, and like, where are you going? Where you're meant to be. You made the right decisions because you're not on the old path, and You're the observer. You are. Be at peace. You get to make the call, you know. You get to decide how to present your life to others. You get to decide who to be in this world. You know, you are in this position of there being an unfinished symphony, but it's not going to be unfinished for very long. You know, we've got the soulmate card on the bottom of this deck. This feels like soulmates to me always. You've earned this. And you don't know who it is yet, right? But you're the one who needs to just show the world you. And you can be at peace because this symphony was only going to be able to be finished by you. And so as long as you were looking to other people to move your life forward, to push your life forward, to make sense of everything that you've carried with you, this is your song, and this is your song. And it's a song that you're meant to sing, that those that are meant to love you are going to recognize when they hear it. And that's going to bring those people and that soul tribe and that soulmate into your life. And that's where we're going to really, I think we're going to end the reading there. I mean, I might get one more card from this deck that, oh no, you know, I'm going to get two more cards. Or I'm going to keep going for just a tiny bit longer because I want to see one more thing. The symphony isn't going to stay unfinished forever, but you're the author of the song about your life. And if you weren't, nobody would recognize you, and no one would hear the song, and your soulmate and your soul family wouldn't hear you because you'd be singing somebody else's song. Spirit's bringing this, I'm seeing this, the Spirit saying, I rescued you from yourself. You see clearly now. And now you can actually finish that song. This is really beautiful. Wonder. You have no idea what's in store for you. You have no idea what's in store for you. Like, this is the thing. Spirit is saying, like, you know, all your little diligence and, you know, like, it's almost like everything that's happened to you, you kept. You found a way to keep it. You know, you found a way to keep it in all sorts of ways. And you've given up on there being any value because of the, like, I'm seeing somebody who's like holding something that, like, you know, they were thought they had to be so ashamed, and then they were like, no, I don't. And now this is free. And so you're really freed up by letting go of the shame that you were holding, and really looking at what you had with you. You were able to start seeing that you could go forward, that this horizon was yours to have, and that what you had been collecting wasn't just stuff to be ashamed of. It was, it's this a big deal. And you're really ready to move forward. The standstill is over. It's time to free everyone. You've got the power to do this. And you have the wisdom too. And so I'm going to just grab a quote, and then we're going to be ready to close this out. As you move into yourself, you're moving into the life that really matches you. And it's been hard getting here, but Spirit is saying is, like, there are wonders, and with the wonders there is a path, and with the path there is power, and with the power there is freedom. And you have this wisdom. You do not need to move. You have everything you need to move your life forward in the way that you want to, in accordance with your vision, and that vision is your life's purpose. And so let's just take one more card before I close this out. And here's something that jumped. PJ Harvey. When in doubt, swim to new ground. Jam with others, but remain the lead. Redream past lives. I love it. All right, we're going to close. All right, let me just, you want to see the card? Yeah. I'll read it again. When in doubt, swim to new ground. Jam with others, but remain the lead. Redream the past. That makes a lot of sense to me. That's everything here, and that's what's propelling you forward. And we're going to pick one more random. 95. How sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame, which like a canker in the fragrant rose, doth spot the beauty of thy budding name. Oh, in what sweets dost thou thy sins enclose, that tongue that tells the story of thine days, making lascivious comments on thy sport, cannot dispraise, but in a kind of praise, naming thy name blesses an ill report. Oh, what a mansion have those vices got, which for their habitation chose out thee, where beauty's veil doth cover every blot, and all turns to fair that eyes can see. Take heed, dear heart, of this large privilege. The hardest knife ill used doth lose its edge. The hardest knife ill used doth lose his edge. Yes, it does. So this is really cool. This was a great reading. I mean, I'm going to try to work with this format more because I really enjoyed it, and I hope that was insightful and helpful. And if it resonated, let me know. I always like to hear feedback. All right, everyone. I'm going to try to do this more. I'm really going to get to more readings as soon as I can. I always intend to, and so this is going to happen. But thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon.